ABC 10 News starts now with breaking news.
And that breaking news is a vegetation fire that we're following in Alpine. We're going to show you a picture here in just a second. This is from SDG&E's cameras. This is a fire that's burning along the I-8 near Victoria Drive in Alpine. We're told that these are multiple spot fires between 4 and 7. The Sheriff's Department is helping direct traffic. CAL FIRE actually canceled help from a fixed-wing aircraft, so maybe that's pretty good news. We'll get an update on that shortly. No known evacuations at this time. Sky 10 and our breaking news tracker are now on the way. All right, now to our top story. Actually, let's check in with our Angelica Campos for an update on the weather conditions in that area. Angelica.
Hi, Steve. We're looking at the heat rising, and of course the heat, one of the main elements for fire conditions. So other two things that we're looking at as well is the rising humidity, but it's still very dry, and the winds are light as we speak. So as we look across the county, the winds are out of the west, but they're not too windy right now. Near Alpine, it is very, very warm right now, and there's very little humidity. So those two elements making it difficult. But the one thing that's helping is the lack of wind. So hopefully that helps out, but we know the danger continues as an excessive heat warning starts tomorrow. I'll have more on that coming up.
Angelica, thank you. Now to our top story. San Diego County schools are one step closer to bringing students back to campus. Good evening. I'm Steve Atkinson.
And I'm Lindsay Pena. If we get off the state's watch list tomorrow, local schools could open for in-person instruction in just 2 weeks. But as ABC 10 News reporter Jennifer De La Cruz explains, some districts say they need more time.
Supervisor Nathan Fletcher hinting at a victory for San Diego County.
Yesterday, we were below the state guidance. Today, we're below the state guidance. Tomorrow, if we're below the state guidance, then that will remove us from the state monitoring list.
Those metrics are based on having fewer than 100 cases per 100,000 residents. If we can stay off the watch list for 14 days in a row, students will be allowed back on campus. But that doesn't mean it will happen right away. Superintendent Teresa Kemper with Grossmont Union High School District says our county's progress is giving them hope.
All of us have been watching those numbers, and when it finally went under 100, their celebration, because we're looking forward to getting kids back.
She says they plan to give parents and teachers a 2-week notice before coming back to campus.
Classrooms are already ready to go, but all of those other services that we provide, are the buses ready to go, food serve cafeterias.
In Cajon Valley, the district says they successfully welcomed 6,000 kids to 27 of their campuses for summer programs. They tell us over the 6-week period, they did not have a single case of COVID-19. Their superintendent says even if the county is able to welcome students back to campus, they would still need time to prepare.
To say that we'd be able to open right away is that's not, I don't feel comfortable with that. Short answer is, I think as soon as possible, starting with our most vulnerable students.
San Diego Unified says it's using its own criteria that goes beyond the state standards and calls for rigorous contact tracing before they can reopen. Escondido Union High School District starts a fully virtual school year August 25th. They say they'll continue the first grading period all online through September 25th and will reevaluate current conditions after that. Jennifer De La Cruz, ABC 10 News.
The county is currently reviewing applications from 48 elementary schools to reopen under a waiver. If accepted, it would allow them to reopen regardless of the county status on the state watch list. And here are the latest numbers for San Diego County. 266 new cases were reported today, bringing the total to 33,600. And there were 7 new deaths, bringing that total to 615.
Joe Biden is calling for all Americans to wear a mask well into the fall.
Every single American should be wearing a mask when they're outside for the next 3 months at a minimum. The estimates by the experts are it will save over 40,000 lives in the next 3 months. It's not about your rights, it's about your responsibilities as an American.
His comments come after a briefing on the coronavirus pandemic with his new running mate, Senator Kamala Harris. More than 165,000 Americans have died from the virus. Biden has consistently been seen wearing a mask in public and advocating for others to do the same. But this is the first time the former vice president has been explicit about a mask mandate and a timeline of that. President Trump accused Joe Biden of attempting to politicize a pandemic moments after his call for a nationwide mask mandate.
He wants the federal government to issue a sweeping new mandate to law-abiding citizens. He wants the President of the United States, with the mere stroke of a pen, to order over 300 million American citizens to wear a mask for a minimum of 3 straight months. He does not identify what authority the president has to issue such a mandate or how federal law enforcement could possibly enforce it.
Now, the president also accused Biden of stepping on the toes of governors throughout our country. President Trump said that governors should decide on whether to require masks at a state level.
And we want to go back to that breaking news that we told you about at the beginning of our newscast. This is a brush fire, or rather a series of brush fires that are burning near Alpine. You can see a lot of that white smoke right there. This is in a populated area. As far as we know right now, though, no evacuations have been ordered. This is a vegetation fire near the I-8 and Victoria Drive. Multiple spots reportedly where fires broke out along the road. And you can see right there where crews are trying to put out these spots. CAL FIRE, though, this is good news, canceled help from an air attack. So we're going to go ahead and assume that that means they are getting this blaze under control. You can see in the middle of the highway there where there's some black spots where you can see where the fire burned. Sky 10 is, of course, giving us these pictures right now. We do also have our breaking news tracker on the way to the scene. We do have somebody, if I understand right now, on the phone with us. Is that correct?
That's right, we do. Alana, one of our studio directors here, is actually lives in Alpine. She's on the phone right now to give us an update. Alana, what are you seeing?
Well, fortunately, in the last 15 minutes, I've seen a lot of helicopters go back and forth, and it's not as smoky as it was when I actually called to ask you guys what's going on, because it was kind of a brownish smoke coming. And after our last big fire a couple of years ago, my neighbors and I are pretty paranoid.
You're actually, you said you could see the smoke from your house. About how far away do you live from this?
Probably about 3 miles. We're in a place called Palo Verde Ranch. In fact, the lake where we live, there's a lake in our little area, and the helicopters are picking up water from the lake and dropping it off. My other neighbor just called me and said they have a good vantage point of watching that.
So Alana,
So we're quite close.
From what we're seeing, are those homes right there off the 8 in that area? Are those businesses? What can you tell us about what you? Because we actually see somebody who's watering down what looks like either an apartment community or the roof of an apartment community or something, a warehouse there. What is in that area?
Well, I'm not watching the TV right now, but my neighbor said that it's between like the Dollar Tree. So there are businesses right there where at least one of the fires are. So it sounds like it's on Alpine Boulevard or close to it. So yeah, that would be why they're watering down apartments, because it's right on the main area. But I can't see what you're seeing right now. I'm in my backyard watching helicopters drop water.
Okay. Yeah, Alana, this is Lindsay here. I was just going to ask you, we had heard that CAL FIRE had called off some of that air support, but I just saw a helicopter, what it looked like was dropping some water right there. So you said you have seen some water drops yourself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're going back and forth. There's like 2 helicopters going back and forth from what my neighbor said from our lake, picking water out of the lake and dropping it off.
Okay, we can see right now. I'm just describing for people what we're seeing, Alana. It looks like the shot we're seeing is the exit for Alpine Boulevard and Willows Road. So about how far away from that are you?
I'm about 3 miles from there.
Okay.
That sounds like it's very close to Viejas too. So but it's closer to the downtown Alpine area.
All right, and we just saw one of those.
I'm seeing it from the smoke in the helicopters. I can't actually. I don't have the Sky 10 vantage point, unfortunately.
Yeah, we just saw, this is good news, Alana, for you guys. We just saw one of those helicopters douse the flames right there by that exit, and we can see the Albertson Shopping Center, what you were describing. So we thank you so much for your perspective and kind of giving us an idea of exactly where this is and what's going on. We're going to check back in with Sky 10 and give you guys a look at the firefight near Alpine in just a little bit. Meanwhile, we're following breaking news of a new wildfire burning near homes in Los Angeles County. The so-called ranch fire is burning in the foothills of the city of Azusa. That's just south of the Angeles National Forest. This started around 1:30 today. In the hot, dry conditions, the fire jumped from 10 acres to at least 600 acres in less than 3 hours. All homes in the community of Mount Cove have been evacuated. No homes have been reported burning and no injuries reported. We will bring you more on this fire as it develops. And crews are scrambling to protect homes from a fast-moving brush fire to our north, also in the Angeles National Forest. The lake fire broke out yesterday and exploded in size in just a matter of hours. It has burned more than 10,000 acres and is still 0% contained. But crews are hoping to make progress ahead of a major heat wave this weekend. As ABC's Zareen Shah reports, this is one of several fires burning across the U.S.
Oh my gosh.
Overnight, over 10,000 acres of flames scorching the area near Los Angeles. Fueled by powerful winds, fire taking over both sides of Lake Hughes, destroying structures and forcing evacuations.
Our initial reports were coming in pretty quickly, 50 acres. A few minutes later, we got an update, it was 100 acres, and then fire quickly grew within just a couple hours, about 6,000 acres. Right now, we're a little over 10,000 acres.
A dangerous combination of dry brush, low humidity, and whipping winds, creating a hellscape in a region that hasn't burned in decades, pushing plumes of smoke that could be seen miles away in Santa Monica. The fire started Wednesday afternoon north of Santa Clarita Valley, but with 0% containment, there is no end in sight.
This will be a major fire for several days.
To the north in Oregon, the Mosier fire burning 500 acres, threatening over 300 homes.
We're hoping to do a lot of good work tonight and get around it, but the wind is going to pick back up tomorrow, and that's going to be a concern about being able to keep it contained just with the amount of fire that's spread out there currently.
The Grizzly Creek fire in Colorado, now over 4,600 acres, forcing some residents to flee. Back in Southern California, firefighters making an ominous forecast for the rest of the season.
It's going to be a hot, dry summer, and it's going to be a very, very hot, dry weekend.
The good news here in the Los Angeles area is that firefighters have benefited from a little bit of cloud cover and light rain this morning. They're hoping those factors will help them get a handle on the fire. Zoreen Shah, ABC News, Los Angeles.